Hi guys, this is Vysh from Vysh IAS and we are going to continue the R.S. Sharma series. So we have reached chapter 13 now, that is almost halfway. This textbook has nearly 27 chapters. The entire ancient history is covered in detail. That is why I decided to do this textbook, because I don't want anyone to miss out any of the portions like we did for modern history, because modern history we did the entire spectrum and there is nothing else you need to do actually. Okay, maybe the class 12th NCRT part 3 you can do. That is the only extra thing you need to do other than MCQs. Okay, MCQs you cannot skip at any what to say, for any reason you cannot skip it. Okay, you have to do MCQs, because I have seen aspirants who will study very hard, they will study till the day of the prelims exam, but they will not solve test papers. If you don't solve test papers, you are not going to clear the prelims. I don't mind if I sound rude also for that, because I have seen examples of students who are very hardworking, who have very much, what is it, they have not even missed even single textbook. Okay, but they cannot solve MCQs because the statement confuses them, or maybe they do not notice small things, like instead of which of the following is correct, they will read it like which of the following is incorrect, or something small things they will miss it and they will not get the cutoff mark. So if you don't start solving MCQs now, at least from March mid you should start it. Okay, for that, first gather all the sources. We are also providing MCQs. The test series, the link is given in the description. Go to that link and find out what we are offering. If you find our materials good, get that, but don't stick only to our materials. Get maximum test series which are of high quality. Okay, let it be whatever sources, get all the good MCQs and start solving, but don't collect lot of materials which are junk materials, because there is lot of, it's like a business now, and most of the students are falling for it also. Many will simply copy paste from here and there, just modify the previous year questions and give it to students, and people will think like, okay, that many test papers I'm getting for this small rate and I'll buy it. But you should see the quality. Okay, at least see the sample MCQs of whatever test series you buy. For our case, we are giving every sample and then only asking you to buy. So all the students who have bought it, good luck to you, practice very well. We'll do the complete preparation for UPSC and we'll clear it this time itself. Okay, so now let's continue the ancient history, that is from R.S. Sharma, chapter 13, which is about Mauryans. Actually, the next chapter is also about Mauryans. That is why I named it Mauryans 1. Next chapter is also Mauryans. We'll name it as Mauryans 2. Now we'll see in the PDF what is the actual name of this particular chapter. So the age of Mauryans. Okay, the beginning you can tell. So here they'll explain the main three kings: the Chandragupta Maurya, the Bindusara and Ashoka. I think Bindusara they have not mentioned in this textbook, but in class 6th NCRT I guess I have already explained to you. Chandragupta and Ashoka we'll see here. So let's start. The Mauryan dynasty was founded by Chandragupta Maurya, who seems to have belonged to some ordinary family. According to the Brahmanical tradition, he was born of Mura, a Sudra woman in the court of Nandas. So you know Nanda dynasty was there after the Sisunaga dynasty, which was there, which came after the Magadha dynasty. Magadha, Sisunaga, Nanda, and now next is Maurya. So there was a Sudra woman, and then son of that woman is Chandragupta. That is according to Brahmanical tradition. But what about other books? Buddhist tradition is telling something else. Okay, we'll see that. The Buddhist tradition speaks of the existence of a Kshatriya clan called the Mauryas, living in the region of Gorakhpur, adjoining the Nepalese Terai. Okay, so there is another Gorakhpur which is near the India-Nepal border. There is a Kshatriya clan called Mauryas, and so Chandragupta is part of that. So two contradicting versions. Okay, one is Brahmanical which tells he is a Shudra, and Buddhist which tells he is a Kshatriya. Okay, in all likelihood Chandragupta was a member of this clan. Okay, so that is what people are thinking. Like most of the historians are concluding like this is the more what is a fact, more important, or what is a believable fact, which is the second one. Okay, he took advantage of the growing weakness and unpopularity of the Nandas in the last days of the rule. With the help of Chanakya, who is also known as Kautilya, he is also called as Vishnugupta, I think. This person, he overthrew the Nandas and established the rule of the Mauryan dynasty. Nandas, you know, it was the one of the most powerful kingdom. We have already did in the last chapter. Even Alexander the Great feared entering India because of the power of Nandas. Now, Justin, a Greek writer, says that Chandragupta overran the whole of India with an army of 6 lakh. Okay, this may or may not be true, but Chandragupta liberated northwestern India from the thraldom of Seleucus. It's actually Seleucus Nicator, the full name. Okay, who ruled over the area west of the Indus. Okay, the Greek ruler west of Indus, he was ruling there, and so Chandragupta liberated entire place from this rule. Okay, in this war with the Greek viceroy, Chandragupta seems to have come out victorious. Eventually, peace was concluded between the two, and in return for 500 elephants, Seleucus gave him eastern Afghanistan, Balochistan, and the area west of the Indus. So all these territories were ceded to this person Chandragupta, and in return 500 elephants were taken back to Greece. Now, Chandragupta thus built up a vast empire which included not only Bihar and good portions of Orissa and Bengal, but also western and northwestern India and the Deccan leaving Kerala, Tamil Nadu and parts of northeastern India. So Kerala, Tamil Nadu, that's in the south of India, and the northeastern regions, entire India was under the rule of this Chandragupta. Such a vast empire, they are telling. We are not sure, but that is what the historians are claiming. In the northwest, they held sway over certain areas which were not included even in the British Empire. So even the British could not conquer this much big empire in India, because they ruled 400 years or something. Still they could not conquer that many regions which Chandragupta Maurya could acquire. Imperial organizations. The Mauryans organized a very elaborate system of administration. We know about it from the account of Megasthenes and the Arthashastra of Kautilya. So Megasthenes was actually a Greek ambassador, okay, sent by Seleucus Nicator to Chandragupta Maurya's court. So his book, I think the name of the book is Indica, it will be mentioned somewhere here, and Megasthenes book and the Arthashastra book, which is written by Kautilya, both gives a detailed information about the Mauryan Empire. So this guy Megasthenes, he lived in the Mauryan capital of Pataliputra and wrote an account not only of the administration of the city of Pataliputra, but also of the Mauryan Empire as a whole. The account of Megasthenes does not survive in full, but quotations occur in the works of several subsequent Greek writers. These fragments have been collected and published in the form of a book which throws valuable light on the administration, society and the economy of Mauryan times. The account of Megasthenes can be supplemented by the Arthashastra of Kautilya. Although the Arthashastra was finally completed a few centuries after the Mauryan rule, some of its books contain materials that is genuine and gives authentic information about the Mauryan administration and economy. On the basis of these two sources, we can draw a picture of the administrative system of Chandragupta Maurya. He was evidently an autocrat who concentrated all power in his hands. Okay, he was an autocrat kind of person with all powers with himself. If we believe in a statement of the Arthashastra, the king had set a high ideal. He stated that in the happiness of the subjects, lay his happiness, and in their troubles lay his troubles. So such a line is there in Arthashastra where he's like a people person kind of thing. So, but we do not know how far the king acted upon these norms. According to Megasthenes, the king was assisted by a council whose members were noted for wisdom. There is nothing to show that their advice was binding on the king, but from the councillors were chosen the higher office. Okay, there was a council, and from there higher officers were chosen. Okay, but it's not like their advice is binding or something. The empire was divided into a number of provinces, and each province were placed under a prince who was a scion of the royal dynasty. The provinces were divided into still smaller units. We know from the excavation that a large number of towns belonged to Mauryan times, and special attention had to be paid to their administration. So Pataliputra, Kausambi, Ujjain, Taxila, they were all important cities under the Mauryan rule. The administration of the Pataliputra, which was the capital of the Mauryas, were carried on by 6 committees, each committee consisting of 5 members. So 30 members are there. These committees were entrusted with sanitation, care of foreigners, registration of birth and death, regulation of weights and measures, and similar other functions. Various types of weights belonging to Mauryan times have been found at several places in Bihar. In addition to these officers, the central government maintained about 24 departments of the state, which controlled social and economic activities, at least in the areas which were near the capital. So places in and around the capital were managed by lot of departments also. The most striking feature of Chandragupta Maurya's administration is the maintenance of a huge army. According to an account of Roman writer Pliny, okay, so now we have a third book. First we saw Kautilya's Arthashastra, then Megasthenes' Indica, and now it is Roman writer Pliny writing about Chandragupta, that is, he maintained 6 lakh foot soldiers, 30,000 cavalry, and 9,000 elephants. Okay, so this is huge, far more than the Nanda dynasty. Another source tells us that the Mauryas maintained 8,000 chariots also. So in addition to this, it seems that the Mauryans also maintained a navy. Okay, the administration of the armed forces, according to Megasthenes, was carried on by a board of 30 officers divided into 6 committees, each committee consisting of 5 members. It says that the 6 wings of the armed forces, the army, the cavalry, the elephants, chariots, navy, transport, all were assigned to the care of a separate committee. So 6 committees for 6 different things. Okay, that is what he has mentioned here. The Mauryan military strength was almost 3 times that of the Nandas. This happened apparently on account of a much larger empire and far more resources. How did Chandragupta Maurya manage to meet the expense of such a huge army? That's what we are going to do now. We will see now. If we rely on the Arthashastra of Kautilya, it would appear that the state controlled almost all the economic activities in the realm. Okay, the state bought new land under cultivation with the help of cultivators and Shudra laborers. The virgin land, which was open to cultivation, yielded handsome income to the state in the form of revenue collected from the newly settled peasants. So new land were incorporated for cultivation, and new members or new laborers were also hired, and that is how agriculture flourished. Obviously, when agriculture flourished, the tax collection also will increase. So it was collected from peasants. It varied from 1/4 to 1/6. Okay, it varied 1/4 to 1/6. In the Buddha age we saw it was 1/6. Okay. Now those who were provided with the irrigation facilities by the state had to pay for it. Okay, so irrigation facilities was not free. For that also payment was collected. So that is how the kingdom made revenue. And they were compelled to raise more and more crops. Tolls were also levied on commodities. So there was like toll booths and all, and so toll was also collected. So a lot of methods for collecting revenue. Okay. The state enjoyed a monopoly in mining, sale of liquor, manufacture of arms. So all these things were reserved for the government. Nobody else can start this kind of business. Okay, mining, liquor or arms. This naturally brought money to the royal exchequer. Okay, Chandragupta thus established a well-organized administrative system and gave it a sound financial base. So that is how Mauryan Empire became such a huge kingdom after the Nandas or the Magadhas. Okay, now Ashoka's timeline, 273 to 232 BC. Chandragupta Maurya was succeeded by Bindusara, whose reign is important for continued links with the Greek princes. That means in the time of Bindusara also there was connection with the Greek Empire. Okay, then after that his son Ashoka is the greatest of the Mauryan rulers. According to the Buddhist tradition, he was so cruel in his early life that he killed his 99 brothers. Okay, in Buddhist thing, it is telling that much exaggerated thing and all, like he was a very cruel person, Ashoka, initially, and he killed even his 99 brothers and then he became the king. But since the statement is based on a legend, it might be wrong. Okay, so that is what R.S. Sharma is concluding. Now his biography, prepared by Buddhist writers, is so full of fiction that it cannot be taken seriously. Okay, so the Buddhist writers' things are too much of fiction. But if you remember Chandragupta's thing, Buddhist version is much more believable. Okay, like Chandragupta belongs to a Kshatriya class, because the Brahmanas were telling like he was belonging to a Shudra class. Now Ashokan edict is very, very important. UPSC have asked question multiple times. We can reconstruct the history of Ashoka on the basis of his inscriptions. Okay, he is the first Indian king to speak directly to the people through his inscriptions. Okay, they were engraved on rocks, on polished stone pillars, mounted by capitals, and in the caves. They are found not only in the Indian subcontinent but also in Kandahar in Afghanistan. These inscriptions are in the form of 44 royal orders, and each royal order has several copies. The inscriptions were composed in Prakrit language and written in the Brahmi script throughout the greater part of the empire. But in the northwestern part, they appear in Kharoshthi script. I told you already, it is like written from right to left like the Arabic language, and it is in Kandahar in Afghanistan. Also, Aramaic language also was used, Greek script was used. So in multiple languages, these edicts were placed across the Indian subcontinent and also outside the Indian subcontinent. They throw light on the career of Ashoka, his external and domestic policies, and the extent of his empire. Now the Kalinga War, the most famous war of Ashoka. So the ideology of Buddhism guided Ashoka's state policy at home and abroad. After his accession to the throne, Ashoka fought only one major war, which is called the Kalinga War. According to him, 1 lakh people were killed in this war and 1,50,000 were taken prisoners. The war brought to the Brahmana priest and the Buddhist monks great sufferings, okay, which caused Ashoka much grief and remorse. So he abandoned the policy of physical occupation in the favor of a policy of cultural conquest. In other words, Bedi-Ghosha was replaced by Dhamma-Ghosha. That means that war kind of attitude is changed to this religious, spiritual kind of attitude. Okay, Bedi-Ghosha is changed to Dhamma-Ghosha. We quote the below words of Ashoka from his 13th major rock edict. So a lot of rock edict are there in MCQs. When you buy, you will get a lot of questions based on that. Okay, so 13th major rock edict, something is mentioned. When he has been consecrated 8 years, the beloved of the goods. It's not important actually. The king Piyadasi, something is there. I'm not going to read it. Some people were deported. Kalinga was annexed. Not much important. Okay, then the justice already explained above that Bedi-Ghosha to Dhamma-Ghosha. Then he's just telling the count and how many people died, what all happened, how many people displaced, and all those things. So it's not required. Okay, that whole paragraph I'm skipping. Now, Ashoka now made an ideological appeal towards the tribal people and the frontier kingdoms. The subjects of the independent states in Kalinga were asked to obey the king as their father and to repose confidence in him. The officials appointed by Ashoka were instructed to propagate this idea among all sections of his subjects. The tribal people were similarly asked to follow the principles of Dhamma. So he, not only himself, he wanted to spread the thing to entire people, okay, under his kingdom. Ashoka no longer treated foreign dominations as legitimate areas for military conquest. He tried to conquer them ideologically. Okay, so now his conquest idea is totally different. Earlier the kings were like, go and get more and more territories, and that is how you conquer places. But now he is like ideological conquest, that is, capture the minds of the people and then make them follow the right path in life. He took steps for the welfare of men and animals in foreign lands, which was a new thing considering the condition of those days. He sent ambassadors of peace to the Greek kingdoms in western, map is not so clear, so I am not pausing it, Western Asia and Greece. All this can be said on the basis of Ashoka's inscriptions. If we rely on the Buddhist tradition, it would appear that he sent missionaries for the propagation of Buddhism to Sri Lanka and Central Asia. As an enlightened ruler, Ashoka tried to enlarge his area of political influence through propaganda. It would be wrong to think that the Kalinga War made Ashoka an extreme pacifist. He did not pursue the policy of peace for the sake of peace under all conditions. On the other hand, he adopted a practical policy of consolidating his empire. He retained Kalinga after its conquest and incorporated it into an empire. So that is one important point. It's not like seeing the people die, he just left that place and told like, okay, Kalinga king, take that land away and then you do whatever you want. He always did a political diplomatic kind of decisions only. He did whatever the situation is demanding, according to that he did. So Kalinga place also he did not leave it. He just retained it under his thing, under his empire, incorporated it and then maintained it under him. Okay, and there is also nothing to show that he disbanded the huge army. Okay, he still had the army and all. It's just that he followed Buddhism, but it's not like he stopped all the things which normally a ruler will do. And although he repeatedly asked the tribal people to follow the policy of Dharma, he threatened them if they violated the established rules of social order and righteousness. Okay, so it's like if you don't follow the rules, then we will be taking action. So that means violence is not left totally by him. Within the empire, he appointed a class of officers known as the Rajukas. Okay, so you should know this term. Rajukas are officers appointed by Ashoka, who arrested the authority of not only rewarding people but also punishing them. Okay, so to maintain this Dhamma, officers called Rajukas were appointed under Ashoka. The policy of Ashoka to consolidate the empire through Dharma bore fruit. Okay, the Kandahar inscription speaks of the success of his policy with the hunters and fishermen who gave up killing animals and possibly took a settled agricultural life. So he's telling because of his inscriptions and this policy spreading, it had actually worked. Internal policy and Buddhism. Ashoka was converted to Buddhism as a result of the Kalinga War. According to the tradition, he became a monk, made huge gifts to the Buddhists, and undertook pilgrimage to the Buddhist shrine. The fact of his visiting the Buddhist shrines are also suggested by the Dharma Yatras mentioned in his inscriptions. According to tradition, the Buddhist council was held under the chairmanship of Ashoka's brother, and missionaries were sent not only to South India but also to Sri Lanka, Burma, and other countries to convert the people. One second. So here some inscription is given, Rumindal pillar inscription of Ashoka. Okay, so convert the people there. Brahmi inscriptions of the 2nd and 1st century BC has been found in Sri Lanka. So it's all about the Buddhist things, whatever he did for spreading the thing. Okay, Buddhist council also is there. 4 Buddhist councils are very important. You should know who was the one who organized it, who was the one who was chairman of it. We have revision chart for it. Anyway, when you buy the MCQs, you will get the revision chart along with that. So in there it will be there. Okay, all the 4 things. Then Ashoka set a very high ideal for himself, and this was the ideal of paternal kingship. He repeatedly asked his officials to tell the subjects that the king looked upon them as his children. As agents of the king, the officials were also asked to take care of the people. Ashoka appointed Dharma Mahamantras. Okay, so Mahamantras we have already seen in the last chapter where we saw like they are higher officials. So Dharma Mahamantras is the higher officials for spreading this thing. Okay, propagating Dharma. And Rajukas also was there for administration of justice in his empire. Okay, so Rajukas, Dharma Mahamantras both are related to Ashoka's time. He disapproved of rituals, especially those observed by women. Okay, he forbade killing of certain birds and animals and completely prohibited the slaughter of animals in the capital. So this statement looks extreme statement, but it is true. Okay, complete prohibition of slaughter of animals. He interdicted gay social functions in which people indulge in revelries. But Ashoka's dharma was not a narrow dharma. It cannot be regarded as a sectarian faith. Its broad objective was to preserve the social order. So broadly what he wanted is to maintain social order. Okay, it's not like a subsection of Buddhism or something. It ordained that people should obey their parents, pay respect to the Brahmanas and Buddhist monks, and show mercy to slaves and servants. So these are all objectives of his social order policy. These instructions can be found in both the Buddhist and Brahmanical faith. Ashoka taught people to live and let live. Okay, he emphasized compassion towards animals and proper behavior towards relatives. His teachings were meant to strengthen the institution of family and existing social classes. He held that if the people behaved well, they would attain heaven. He never said that they would attain nirvana. Okay, so there is no concept of nirvana, but attain heaven is there. Okay, which was the goal of Buddhism. So Buddhism was telling attain nirvana, Ashoka is telling attain heaven. Ashoka's teachings were thus intended to maintain the existing social order on the basis of tolerance. He does not seem to have preached any sectarian faith. Okay, so there is no new religion or subsect or something. It is just following social order and then attain, respect everybody, treat everybody well, and then attain heaven. Okay, Ashoka's place in history. It is said that the pacific policy of Ashoka ruined the Mauryan Empire, but this is not true. On the contrary, Ashoka has a number of achievements to his credit. He was certainly the greatest missionary ruler in the history of the ancient world. He worked with great zeal and devotion to his mission, and he achieved a lot both at home and abroad. Ashoka brought about the political unification of the country. He bound it further by one dharma, one language, and practically one script. Okay, one language, one dharma, one script, called the Brahmi, which was used in most of his inscriptions. In unifying the country, he respected such scripts as Brahmi, Kharosthi, Aramaic, Greek. We have already seen it. Evidently, he also accommodated such languages as Greek, Prakrit, and Sanskrit, and various religious sects. Ashoka followed a tolerant religious policy. He did not try to foist his Buddhist faith on his subjects. On the other hand, he made gifts to non-Buddhist and even anti-Buddhist sects. Ashoka was fired with zeal for missionary activities. He deputed officials in the far-flung parts of the empire. This helped the cause of administration and also promoted cultural contacts between the distant provinces. The maternal culture, typical of the heart of the empire, spread to Kalinga and the lower Deccan and northern Bengal. Above all, Ashoka is important history for the policy of peace, non-aggression, and cultural conquest. He had no model in early Indian history for pursuing such a policy. So he is the first one to do such a thing. There is no model which he followed. Okay, so and such example did not exist in other countries also. They are telling in Egypt where Akhenaton had purchased a Pacific policy in 14th century BC. Okay, so there was no example before him. That is what they are telling. Now it is obvious that Ashoka was not aware of the Egyptian predecessor, although Kautilya advised the king to be always intent on physical conquest. Okay, so Kautilya was advising to have physical conquest, but Ashoka followed the reverse policy. He asked the successors to give up the policy of conquest and aggression, which had been followed by Magadhan princes till the Kalinga war. Okay, so as I told you in the previous chapter also, Bimbisara will start everything and Ashoka will end everything, the physical conquest thing. He counseled them to adopt a policy of peace, which was badly needed for the period of aggressive wars lasting for 2 centuries. Ashoka consistently stuck to the policy, although he possessed sufficient resources and certainly maintained a huge army. He did not wage any war after the conquest of Kalinga. Okay, so that was the last war which he fought. In this sense, Ashoka was certainly far ahead of the day and generation. However, Ashoka's policy did not make any lasting impression on the viceroys and vassals, who declared themselves independent in their respective areas with the retirement of the king in 232 BC. Similarly, the policy could not convert his neighbors, who swooped on the northwestern frontier of the empire within 25 years of Ashoka's exit from the power in 232 BC. So it's telling like Ashoka tried to do all these things, but nobody else was following him. Okay, the other external kingdoms continued attacking. We'll see even Greek invasions after I think 2-3 chapters. So such things happened, even the neighboring kingdoms and all. Maybe Buddhism was spread far and wide, but this physical conquest, stopping the war, all those things he could not spread much, and people did not follow him. He was an ideal example and he was a model to be followed, but the world did not follow him. Okay, that is how they conclude this. So some questions are there, but I'll show you better questions for prelims. 1 second. Okay, where is that? Okay. First question. Which of the following are true regarding Ashoka's edict? Ashoka was the first ruler who communicated directly with the masses via his edict. Edicts were formed on polished rock surfaces and put up across his empire. It is also found in Afghanistan. Prakrit, Brahmi script, Kharosthi script, Aramaic, it's actually Aramaic, okay, and Greek, etc. has been used in various edicts. It gives royal orders, details on the empire extent, domestic and external policies, etc. So whether all these things are true or anything is false, try to answer in the comment section. Next question, which of the following are impact of the Kalinga war? Ashoka gave up war, conquest and decided to have ideological relations with foreign lands. He sent missionaries to Sri Lanka and South Asia to propagate Buddhism and Dhamma. He is an ambassador of peace to Central and West Asia, even Greece. Okay, he gave up his land of Kalinga, which led to a lot of bloodshed. So all are directly picked up from R.S. Sharma. That is why I am telling, try to buy our test series. You will get 300 plus questions, I think, which all are true regarding Chandragupta Maurya. As per Brahminical text, he belonged to Shudra class. As per Buddhist text, he belonged to Kshatriya class. He established the Mauryan Empire with the help of Chanakya. He liberated the northwestern regions from the rule of Greek viceroy Seleucus. Okay, so try to answer all these questions in comment section. Buy the test series. Price will be hiked next week. I want all the serious aspirants to get it at the discounted price. That is why I kept it lower price for 2 weeks. Okay, so please get it soon. Details are there in the description link. Please watch that. Till I come to the next video. Thank you and have a nice day.